So we're here at Cleopatra's Needle. That's the obelisk right behind me. We'll walk around and give you a better view here in just a couple of minutes. This is actually the oldest object in Central Park. So this was originally constructed, it's made of granite, and this was constructed in Heliopolis in Egypt. There's actually some discrepancy over when that happened. I've heard 1450, I've heard 1600 BC. Either way, I think it makes the name Cleopatra's Needle a little bit weird. You might be sitting here saying, that's a lot earlier than Cleopatra was actually in power. You are correct. That is absolutely earlier. The nickname actually came about because even though they were originally constructed in Heliopolis, during Cleopatra's reign, she had them moved to Alexandria and she had them erected at the entrance to a temple that she was having built. You might be also noticing I'm saying them, and there's one obelisk here. This is actually part of a pair. There's a match set, its twin is in London. London actually acquired their obelisk before we did. It was in the 1870s, you can still visit it, it's right on the banks of the Thames River. All of a sudden, London had an obelisk and New York was like, wait a second, we want one of those too. We copied London a lot in the 1800s. This is just one of many examples. So all of a sudden it became imperative that New York City have an obelisk to match London's. So the sale and transfer of this obelisk to the United States was arranged. It was partially financed by the Vanderbilt family. So this thing's 200 tons. It's really heavy. It's also old and it's delicate. It has all these hieroglyphs carved on the side. So getting it here was kind of a challenge. Actually, even getting it onto the ship to get it here was kind of a challenge. They ended up, to get it into the ship, they cut a hole out of the side of the ship, and then they laid this thing on cannonballs so that it could roll, and they just rolled it on in there. Sure. Sailed over here, and then, you know, it had come a long way, and I think if we broke it, like, we were definitely not getting another one. So to get it from the Hudson River to this spot, they took 112 days. They used 32 horses, and they just like inched this thing along for 112 days. They finally got this standing upright 1881, and so here it is to this day.
My goodness.
Take a little. You can take a little walk around. Ooh,
let's do it.
I hope nobody steals my stuff.
I'll grab it.
We'll go get it. Central Park's very safe, but you probably just still shouldn't leave your backpack around. I can keep my mask on me in case I need to get near anybody, but hopefully I can keep it off for just a minute. So as you can see, we have some of the hieroglyphics are very, very clear. Some of them are not. A lot of that damage was actually done well before we even had this thing, but of course over the years, all the exposure here in the park, we've had some more wear away as well. So they have undertaken several restoration projects, just attempting to keep what we do have. Let's come on over this way.
It's a wild goose chase.
So here's a translation. And you can see that it's only partial. Like I said, some of this was already worn away well before we got this. So this is what we have of the translation, and they have been trying to work hard to just maintain whatever we have. You can also see that we have these claws underneath.
Ooh.
So those are decorative, but also functional. They're helping keep the balance of this. Those are actually replicas of the ones that were underneath the base of it originally. The originals are kept right in there, Metropolitan Museum of Art. But we have a beautiful clear day to see this obelisk, and we're very, very lucky to have such an amazing piece of history right here in Central Park. Bet you didn't think we had things that old in New York City.